even though we don't have to deal with hurricanes here, one of the things we are always thinking about is earthquakes. We're no stranger to those here in California. It's always somewhere in the back of our minds, right? And we had some major earthquakes around the globe recently, so I wanted to know, does this mean the risk to California is higher right now? Take a look. Following a few major earthquakes around the Pacific, one in Taiwan and two in Mexico over the last week, it begs the question, are these related?
There's not a strong correlation that I know of between them. It's just the timing. They're both in active, very active plate boundaries, very complex tectonic plate boundaries.
Earthquakes can affect other earthquakes, that's for sure. When earthquakes happen, there are aftershocks, for example, that happen in the surrounding areas, and that's normal. But these earthquakes in Taiwan and Mexico are very far away from California, and they're not big enough or close enough to have a reach into basically our seismic forecast, our seismic hazard.
Sacramento and the Central Valley are somewhat sheltered from major earthquakes. We'll feel some minor trembles from time to time, but we're nowhere near as shakeable as San Francisco or Los Angeles. But that doesn't mean we wouldn't feel the big one if it happened in the Bay Area.
Yeah, like a 1906 earthquake, we would feel it. We wouldn't have the violent shaking that if you're right underneath it would be, but we would feel it here in this region.
It's still good to be prepared, though. We do live in California, after all.
It is something within our culture they need to be ready for. California is a seismically active state. We've had strong earthquakes in the past, and we expect to have them in the future. We can't say when they're going to happen, but we know enough that it's important for people to be prepared.
There's a lot we can do to prepare for earthquakes. Everyone should have water on hand, so enough for 3 days for every person in the household. You should have extra food. You should have batteries for flashlights, and you need to make sure your space is secure.
And yeah, growing up in California, we had the great shakeout that we always had where we hid under the desks and everything like that. So
Yeah, and that's coming up again next month, October 20th, I believe. So the great shakeout just around the corner again. But I mean, you heard there, it's not like the weather, right? We can kind of forecast a lot of what happens with weather. I mean, we saw the hurricane models there going out, a week in advance. But with earthquakes, no such luck. Best we can do about 15 seconds.
yeah, so anything we can do to prepare, the better.
Yep, absolutely.
Alrighty, thank you, Brendan.